So here's the thing. There's good news and there's bad news. As you might know, immigration has been a bit of a touchy topic for a while in the UK right now because of the rising immigration and specifically because of the number of dependents coming into the country. So last year alone, the number of dependent visas that were issued to student dependents were 136,000, which increased 8 times over 2019 from when it was 16,000. So in all honesty, it comes as no surprise that Suella Braverman, the Home Secretary of the UK, announced yesterday that postgraduate students who are not doing research courses will no longer be able to bring their dependents into the country. Now, this means that if you plan on studying any course in the UK that's a postgraduate course, but a course that has not been designated as a research course, you won't be able to bring your dependents or your family into the country anymore. Another announcement was that international students will no longer be allowed to switch from student visas to skilled worker visas while they're still completing their course to prevent misuse of the system. Now remember I said there was good news. Well, the only good news that comes into play over here is that these changes will come into effect from Jan 2024. So if you've already gotten an acceptance for this year, you have nothing to worry about, nothing changes for you. But come Jan 2024, any courses post that will not allow you to bring in your dependents unless it's a research course. The government also stated that there will be a review of the maintenance requirement for students and dependents and a crackdown on unscrupulous education agents who make inappropriate applications to sell immigration and not education. Now, let's talk about the other changes. It comes as no surprise that the government is desperately trying to cut down net immigration because the numbers have been ever rising. The net migration for last year, 2022, is expected to be between 700,000 and 800,000, which will be officially announced in the next few days. And the fact is that the government wants to bring these numbers down to pre-COVID numbers, which was around 100,000, which basically means that there may be more changes coming up. Now, in order to avoid speculation, I went over to BBC and actually checked BBC, and this is what they said. BBC reported that MPs supportive of Ms. Braverman are making it clear that she has ambitions to go further than limiting the number of student dependents. They also believe that overseas students should be limited to remaining in the UK for 6 months after graduating. They would also raise earning requirements for those coming to the UK for work, though they would accept exemptions where there's serious shortage of staff. Now, the point that you need to remember is that all these points I just showed you right now is speculation, but very serious speculation at this point. And considering how the government has been leaning and their desperate attempts to cut migration, you might see these changes announced in the next few weeks. Now, let's talk about what you should do at this point. To be honest, there's not much you can do. If you've applied to study in the UK and you've gotten your acceptance, absolutely great, you're sorted. Apart from the September intake, there's also a December intake, which isn't very popular, but I would consider you quickly check it out and see if it works for you or not, especially if the courses are before January 2024. Now, if that doesn't work for you either, then your next option would be to consider research courses. But something you need to keep in mind, a lot of the universities over here were thriving because of international students and because of the fees that international students paid. Now, with this change coming into effect, a lot of international students are going to drop out, which means that they need to make the money from somewhere else. So effectively, the students from the UK and the remaining international students who are coming in are going to have to bear the burden of higher fees going forward. So if you're looking at studying later in the year or if you're looking at studying next year in the UK, you should expect a rise in fees. Bottom line, you may want to consider other countries like Canada or Australia if you want to study. Now, like I said earlier, a few more changes may be announced in the next few days, and I will cover them as soon as they come out. So do remember to check my channel. The easiest way for you to be informed if there is a video coming out about visa changes is for you to subscribe and hit the bell so that you get a notification as soon as I make a video about this topic. But until then, thank you for watching.